Shane Gillis and Joe Rogan had a conversation, and the name of Nick Fuentes got brought up. I'm not even all the way through that entire podcast, but then I see last night that people are posting clips of them discussing Nick Fuentes because Shane Gillis just throws them out there. Are we speaking these things into existence? Are we manifesting our reality? I know a lot of people don't want this reality. I honestly do. I want to see Joe Rogan have Nick Fuentes on and just discuss the elephant in the room that is Nick Fuentes. I don't agree with everything that he says, but he's certainly entertaining, and he's certainly gotten the eyes and the attention of the masses. And people are trying to not let him speak. He has climbed the mountain, and I think he deserves. I gotta be careful how I say this, but I think it would be in everyone's best interest if Joe Rogan brought him on and just air this out. We're going to look at this. This is Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis speaking about yesterday. This is the clip. It's about almost 2 minutes long, but I'm going to enjoy every second of it, and I hope you do as well.
Two for war.
You'd think we'd have more presidents. The Catholics.
Yeah, they only had one.
Biden,
right?
Too.
Oh, Biden's Catholic.
We got Biden.
Allegedly.
True. We only got one. He got shot, and then Biden was doing auto sign. Give us a good one.
Yeah. You got anybody in mind? Nick Fuentes? He could probably win in a few years.
Hold on, let's talk.
Listen, he couldn't have existed before, right? 10, 20 years ago, couldn't have existed. Now, super popular. What's 20?
Shane Gillis brought him up. And Nick Fuentes, it seems like he's had some beef with Shane Gillis. Because Shane Gillis, he's a comedian, he's funny, and he was certainly not like light on Nick Fuentes. He called him out on a number of things and made fun of him because saying like he's hardcore. Shane Gillis is bringing him up probably because he's his homeboy. He's Catholic also. He wants a Catholic president. Joe Rogan does not want to touch this. I can tell Joe does not want to touch this. And that might be, I don't know if this is a little insider knowledge. Maybe it's just inside my own head. But is it because something's underneath the table happening? Are things being worked out that maybe Nick can go on there? I'm just floating that out there. I think it's actually happening. I think it is. I might just be reading the tea leaves, but I think it is. But let's hear what Joe says.
Years from now look like? You know, maybe someone like that can win.
Well, we'll see.
I got to pee so bad. We got to wrap this up anyway.
I'm down.
4:18.
We got that one at the buzzer.
Yeah. Well, listen, I will say this about it. It's fascinating to watch that there's like a whole group of people that feel very unrepresented in the world, and especially like young men. And here you got this young guy with a very high verbal IQ. Mm-hmm. And he also does a lot of shit posting, a lot of talking shit, a lot of trolling, says women shouldn't be allowed to vote, says wild shit. And
that one, I think that is actually valid. And even though that might not be the most respectable in our nation, because we're told that like this of equal rights with everyone. I get that why we made that, but I understand it. I think this major backlash that Nick has been pushing forward, and a lot of people are, that men need to be men, you know, and I think there is reasoning behind it. I don't think it's the most crazy thing, but I think the way that we're fed is that women should have exactly equal rights as men. When we understand men and women have complementary roles, we're not the same. You know, women's sports and men's sports, there's obviously a difference. And when we try to just make everything equal across the board, we choke on our own just stupidity.
And that Piers Morgan thing is like, bro, that was like an expert sparring with someone who thought they were an expert.
Sure.
Like they're playing two totally different games.
And it's also the thing that people try to get Fuentes on is that he's still funny as fuck.
It's funny.
So that's where you're in a lot of trouble.
When he hits him, do you think you made jokes about the Holocaust? He goes, too soon? Like, dude.
Yeah.
And you could see
he's wild.
You could see Piers going, oh, fuck.
Bro, when he was like, me mom died. I was like, holy shit.
Bro, he got hit. He got hit with a missile on that one. Too soon? Too soon, I was like, oh my God.
Okay, so I think it's not at all the most thing that everybody wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear this immediately. When we're just raised and born in this political correctness that everybody has to say the exact perfect thing, what you have been fed your whole freaking life every day, and you if you step out of line, that you be slapped and you immediately get thrown back into line. Like I said, I do not agree with everything that Nick is doing at all. The things that he says, I feel uncomfortable about it. And I think that everybody should feel a little bit, but he's an edgelord. He's testing all the lines. He's pushing all the boundaries. And I think it's so we can almost come back to realignment. I mean, bringing up about the Holocaust and all that, those are the things that nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to talk about it. And I get that. I'm on the other side. I think that, we shouldn't probably, I stand more for the Jews in a lot of ways than maybe Nick, his leanings. Because what he stands for, when you bring up the Jews, when you bring up people of that race, that ethnicity, I think he's not seeing where he is in the whole thing. Because I'm trying to make boards because I feel really weird about this, because I am in this kind of cognitive dissonance where I'm trying to understand both sides of the argument. And I think that this is very hot water for a lot of people. And he's tested everyone. He's made it clear where he stands on it, but he's coming from that whiteness, this Roman Catholicism is the fundamental view, but it's just inserting himself into what the Jews believe. The Jews believe they are the race, they are the ethnicity, they are the national identity that people should have. I think there is wiggle room for both sides. There's for viewpoints, and that's why I don't identify with Roman Catholicism. I'm not Catholic, and I don't identify with Judaism. I'm not Jewish. I'm not there. But I think the real viewpoint, the good viewpoint, is just Christianity in general, the umbrella that we are all equal before God. So I don't agree with Nick in a lot of ways because he's coming at it from just that viewpoint, that standpoint. And I think that is what, if we really pressed him, it's just he's hammering at the Jews and Israel so much. It's because he thinks that Roman Catholicism has replaced that. It has inserted itself into that and is the next level of that. It's not, but Christianity is the one that allows everyone a part of it. You don't have to be singularly a part of one visible manifestation on church of Roman Catholicism. Because if you really get down to it, he would say that, Protestants are going to hell. Anyone that's not in the church is going to hell. They're not a part of Christ. And I disagree with that. So I know it's funny to talk, these things that he's just an edgelord about, bringing up the Holocaust and saying about it. It can be funny because that is legitimate. Too soon, when everybody understands, we understand, we can talk about things. People are making fun of things the next day now about if something terrible happens because there's dark humor in it. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying I agree with it. But there is propaganda from both sides. People don't want to. They're coming from the Jewish identity side. That is they have made it an idol because they don't want something like that to ever happen again. So they're using it against everyone. As you can see, I'm in the middle. I'm not, and I think anyone that is saying everything that Nick says is gold, is perfect, they're being fundamentally dishonest. They're being intellectually stupid. And they're just buying into something, which I can call out what he is saying that's wrong and I disagree with. And there's things that I agree with that he is paving the way. He is allowing our society to maybe be shook up so that it can come back into a right alignment, which is men need to lead. Women have complementary roles. We're all equal before God. And women can do amazing things that guys can't do. Guys can do things that women can't do. Everybody has distinct roles. And when you try to homogenize everybody to become one thing, you lose everybody and you lose everything. And I think that is the biggest thing that we need to keep. And if we try, I lean more towards I agree with a culture of white identity and of nationalism. I think that of the United States, it functions better like that. But I'm coming at from my own bias. I'm coming at what white people have created and built. I think it's good and it's great. And I think a lot of people have flocked here and now everything's being transformed. But I'm coming at from that cultural bias. That's what I think is good. But not everybody agrees with that. Not everybody sees that same way. And if we try to make everybody one thing. There's no ability for diversity. There's no way that people can get along. I think that is where he's so pigeonholed. Nick is very pigeonholed into this Roman Catholic identity and whiteness, white movement that he has made it himself. He has created it himself, and he's living it out. He's living it out faithfully. But I don't think it's truly the best outcome and conclusion of where we should go with all this. But I think it is stirring things up, and it's shaking things up, and people need to be aware of that it's happening. Because I struggle with this, like what America is, and like you could say, like, oh, it's white people, and it's not. It never has been. Never has been. You just have to be white. But I think it is what the overall consensus and the culture that the European white people have built is overall generally good. So we don't have to destroy and say it's terrible, just to try to make everyone feel better. Let's find whatever the best direction of everything. And if everybody is trying to file in and get into America, there's got to be something that has been at the foundational level a good thing of what it was built, what it was built on, and why people are flocking to get here and they want to be here. I think it's stupid how we always feel we can't say things. We feel uncomfortable talking about certain areas because we know that it's not palatable to so many people. Say what you think, and I think Nick he's the pendulum that has swung everything in this direction. I think overall it's a good thing, but if we really follow out his train of thought, when he's taken a little bit too far when he's telling people to go home. I think America should be welcoming everyone, but there is a sense that really the European of whiteness and of creating of this country that we have built is probably the best way that we should keep it, with the way that we should run with it, that we should build it going forward. And I think that Nick has tapped into something like that. But when you try to start throwing everyone out and saying that you're not a part of it and you can't be a part of it, then I think you're going against even just the principles and tenets of Christ himself. This is a big umbrella. But if we don't need to be, I hate the identity politics that is all, and you see everything through that lens. It's not a good way to live. It's not a healthy way to live. But it is swinging everything back, I think, overall in the direction almost to just break everything up that needs to be broken up so that we can go forward and thrive as a nation. All right, we'll leave it at that. I hope Joe Rogan does bring Nick on. He needs to. We need to see this, and we will learn things. Joe will learn things. I think he's been pushing it away. He doesn't want to go there. It seems like, but overall, I think it would be a good thing for his show as well. And because he should not be afraid to bring anyone on. He should talk to who people want to hear from. All right. We'll leave it at that. Follow me on X and Instagram @BrandonFogel. Have a great day.